Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Dip Dipianco. Watch the game live in our past episodes on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game.
The PBA season 48 is upon us, so we've got a special episode tonight to take a look at the top names in the next generation of hoopers set to enter the league. Now, to help us out, we've got Coach Mark Molina and Coach Nash Racela, who will be putting on their GM hats for something new and exciting on the game. Coaches, welcome to the game. Pao, it's the first ever PBA mock draft, and you're right there if you're wondering. My partner is standing right there, ready to show us his penmanship.
Of course, but we're here to talk about yung mga draft picks natin today. But before we even begin, Coach Nash, Coach Mark, you take a look at yung listahan natin. A record high number of applicants. But is the quality there, Coach Nash?
Oh yes, of course. 128 draftees this coming season. You have a very deep talent. A lot of big men coming in. A lot of small guys also. No, you talk about guys from the U.S. and of course the Philippines.
Athletic for sure. And Coach Mark, you've conceded the first pick for today in particular. Pero yung gagawin natin today is not necessarily a draft in the sense that this is how we expect the draft to go, pero magiging big board to in terms of this PBA mock draft bit.
Pag ganito ba, Coach Mark, that you have this stacked draft class, is it easier or harder to pick dahil ang dami mong pagpipilian na talent?
To me, it's a bit hard because I don't think maybe there's a clear number one, but after that, you could go a lot of ways. And then there's also a lot of, especially in the big positions, I think there's a lot of similar players who can do a lot of the same things. So it's going to depend on how the coaches really will evaluate them.
All right, so what we're going to do is that we're going to ask the two coaches to make their first 12 picks. So I end up with 24 players, then talk about those picks after the break. Coach Nash, top overall pick for this entire draft para sa'yo?
I'd go for talent. Stephen Holt.
Stephen Holt, who a lot of people have said is the number one pick in terms of talent, in terms of experience. So let's see whether or not that will be the case later on. Okay, Coach Mark.
Shani Winston.
Shani Winston at number 2.
Interesting.
Okay. Sige. All right, then take it from here.
You know that Shani Winston is the guy that played for De La Salle University. We'll talk more about him later on, but this is an interesting pick, Pao.
This is a good start. Oh. Can I just say, pang Blues Clues yung sulat ko, so pasensya na guys. But then, yes.
Inikilian mo nga, hindi nakasama yung first name para hindi mapansin masyado yung sulat mo. But we go back to Coach Nash for the second pick.
Luis Villegas.
Villegas. Interesting. So 6'7" center coming from UE and was a mythical 5 member.
This is a one-and-done player that played for the Red Warriors.
Okay, going big itong si Coach Nash. All right, Coach Mark.
Since injured yung pick ni Coach Nash, injured din kukunin ko. Xavier Lucero.
Save Lucero. Siyempre, all UP fans would remember yung contribution niya throughout this entire his UAP stint.
We're
And
getting,
of course,
a lot of UAAP standouts, right?
yeah, and I think yung common theme dito is yung size so far, apart from Shani Winston, who says he's 6'4", pero hindi ako sigurado. All right, Coach Nash.
I'd go for another big, si Keith Datu.
Keith Datu. Yeah.
Oy, sa akin yan.
Oo nga no. Sige. All right.
I don't think Coach Mark is complaining though, or is Keith Datu on your board?
Not at number 3.
Not at number
Really?
3. Okay.
Sige. So not Keith Datu, who's number 3 in your board since obviously this is your pick.
Player namin pareho. Ken Tuffin.
Ken Tuffin. He is tough enough. You take a look at Ken Tuffin and the work that he's done recently. I think he will be a high pick. But, let's see.
Ken Tuffin spent most of his time in New Zealand after graduating from FEU, and now he's back. He's ready to take his talents to the PBA.
3-point shootout winner sa draft combine.
Maraming shooters sa draft combine. So that says a lot about Ken Tuffin. Okay, so now that Coach Mark chose a player from FEU, si Coach Nash ba? Gusto rin kumuha ng tama raw or may iba kang minamata, Coach Nash?
Yeah, I wanted to go for Tuffin. Pero this time I'll go for a UP player. Xavier Lucero.
Andiyan na.
Diyan si Lucero.
Oh, Lucero was taken at
Focus na,
second.
unahan mo pala ako eh. Okay, I'd go for another UP player.
Okay.
Rivero.
Richie Rivero.
Richie.
Sakto pala na nakamaroon ako tonight, Pao eh.
Oo. And this
Team
was
natin
coordinated in terms of outfits for today. All right, so let's try to move on a bit quicker here, Coach Mark.
Very few point guards in this draft. So I'll go for, to me, who the best point guard in the draft, Fran Yu. Fran Yu.
Fran
Fran
Yu. Of course, Fran Yu showed out during the PBA on tour. Played very well. A lot of people were very happy with his performance. Coach Nash?
I'm not so familiar with this player, but I'd gamble on
David.
Christian David.
Christian David.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christian David.
Oh, a lot of talk about this guy.
Okay, then Coach Mark?
Brandon Bates.
Brandon Bates. Another
Good pick.
relatively familiar name. Good
So,
pick.
may dalawang lasalista na. So, masaya si Pao kasi sa mga picks ni Coach Mark. We have two
Look,
green archers.
We're gonna be very well represented in this draft. Okay. Coach Nash.
I'd go for another talent. Si James Kwekutey.
James Kwekutey out of San Beda.
Yeah, from Beda and 6'2", Phil-Canadian guard. Let's see if he can bring his talents to the PBA.
Coach
Alright.
Mark?
I need more size, so I'll go with Ken Mark Carino.
Ken Mark Carino.
Of course, remember, he was one of the first ever Filipinos to make an appearance in the Japanese B-League back in the day. All right, Mark Carino going to try and make his mark dito sa PBA. Coach Nash.
Cade Flores.
Cade Flores.
Phil Aussie from Arellano. As I have to clear this up.
Was once Rookie of the Year in the NCAA and also the Defensive Player of the Year back in season 98. So, good pick in the middle of the board for Coach Nash.
Look, I can't wait to really dive into this, but let's get the players on the board here first. Coach Mark.
I will go with Rafi Verano.
Rafi Verano. All right. Very intelligent player. Very, baka underrated niya sa draft na to eh.
Coach Nash.
Coach Nash.
Another big guy, Galinato.
Henry
Galinato.
Galinato.
Yeah, Henry Galinato.
Of course.
That is a big guy.
That is another big guy. Again, grabe yung size in this draft. Hard to be a bit short in this draft sa totoo lang. Coach Mark.
Ubus na, no?
Medyo mahirap na yung...
Oo nga eh.
Sean Jackson.
Sean Jackson. Okay. We have Sean Jackson coming in. I can't wait for the explanations later on from Coach Mark. Coach Nash.
King Caralipio.
King Caralipio, 6'2", from Letran. Caralipio. So we're nearing the business end already of this mock draft, pero yung quality, the depth is still there.
Yeah.
Coach Mark, who do you have? There are actually a few here that could be drafted earlier on.
Baka may nalalagpasan
will-
lang eh.
Oo
No?
nga eh.
Get another former FEU player, Cliff Hopia. FEU
Cliff
went to San
Hopia.
Diego.
Cliff Hopia, okay. Cliff Hopia from FEU coming in. Siyempre may konting
Beda na actually siya ngayon.
Beda siya
Oh,
ngayon.
FEU and
Pero
Beda,
6'8" rather.
That is added height
There's
for
so
Coach
much
Mark.
size even in the latter part of the draft.
Okay, last 3 picks for each. Coach Nash.
I'd go for a shooting big guy, si Brian Santos.
Brian Santos out of UST.
Grabe. A lot of people are saying that this is not just a large draft class, but a really stacked one. We're seeing it here because we still have quality players and players with size towards the tail end of this. Again, this is 24 players first. Coach Mark.
Shooting big from UST. Tatapatan ko ng shooting big din from UST. Sherwin
Yun.
Concepcion.
Sherwin
Ito yung hinihintay natin. Sabi ni Coach Nash, parang nakalimutan ko yun.
Pang match.
Okay, Sherwin Concepcion coming in towards the tail end.
Last two picks.
Okay, interesting. You went for a Concepcion. I'll go for the other Concepcion.
Archie.
Archie Concepcion coming from Arellano. So I'll just put here A Concepcion.
Stands for Archie and Arellano. Pwede na rin.
Pwede rin.
Coach Mark?
Wala akong,
Nahihirapan na si Coach Mark.
wala akong guards eh. So, I will go with BJ Andrade.
PJ
There you go.
Andrade. Oh, that's another guy that's flying a bit under the radar.
And for Coach Nash's last pick of the draft, could be a steal. Minsan yung mga last pick, dito pa nakukuha yung gems.
Brent Paraiso.
Brent Paraiso.
And Paraiso, that's right.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, it's a very good pick. And there are still a few players here who actually did shine sa PBA 3x3 who would be thinking like, oh, you may have forgotten about me. Or Coach, last pick of this, Coach Mark, last pick of this entire mock draft.
I will go with Jimenez.
Kit
Jimenez.
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 Yan ang point guard.
Yan ang sikat na sikat ngayon.
Ang dami ng followers ng team ni Coach Mark right away.
So
All right.
Jimenez, the last pick of this 24-man mock draft that we're going to have. And of course, we're going to dive deeper into this one.
Right, and we now have our board of 12 draft picks each. We'll go over them one by one after the break. Keep it here. You're watching our special PBA draft episode of The Game.
Welcome back to the game. You're watching our special PBA Mock Draft 2023 episode, and we're joined by our special GMs for today, the Game Masters, Coach Mark Molina and Coach Nash Racela. And let's take a look at the board one more time, and let's try to dive deep into this one. Coach Nash, we were talking about the fact that grabe yung size ng grupo na to. Nagulat ka ba na medyo konti yung mga point guards natin in this draft?
Well, yeah, nagulat na konti yung mga point guards ngayon, no? But PBA will be happy to welcome the big men, no? Dami nila eh. So, hindi na magkukulang. Before, that was the problem with the PBA, kulang ang bigs. Now, baka sumobra na.
Dati yung mga 6'5 nga, sentro na eh. Ngayon, 6'5, you're probably a 2 or a 3.
These picks, by the way, do not reflect ano yung mga bagay dun sa teams that will draft in order, right?
Yeah.
These are based on the big board, sa tingin nila based on the talent alone. So, Coach Mark, based on your picks, ano ba yung style that you were going for? Anong playing style yung parang finocus mo dito sa picks mo?
No, it's top. It's big man heavy.
Yeah.
This draft was big man heavy. So I thought I needed to get some guards and wings early because it's the wings and the guard positions were not that deep. That's why Shawnee Winston, Kenneth Tuffin, Fran Yu, 3 of my first 4 picks were perimeter players. You can argue that Lucero can also be a perimeter player because marami pa eh. Bates is there, Carino is there. There's a lot of size in this draft. Talagang maraming pagpipilian ng mga coaches natin. And then, skilled bigs. A lot of these guys like Lucero, Villegas, Datu, they all shoot from the outside.
Coach Mark, I just want to ask you to critique si Coach Nash. May pick ba si Coach Nash na nagulat ka na that high?
Talent is very good. Pero pe-press ko yung team niya, wala siyang point guard.
Tama naman.
Ang daming bigs.
Ang daming bigs. Oh,
Pwede
tama.
ba mag-trade dito? Oh.
No, well, not siguro for next year. Oo. But Coach Nash, you take a look at yung listahan mo and do you feel that there's a player there na medyo no-overlook ng lahat?
Ito si Archie Concepcion. I saw him play in the other league. Veteran na ito eh, no? He's a tough player.
Yeah.
Na I suppose coaches saw him during the itong ano natin, combine.
combine,
no? That combine. So
Just so everyone knows, itong si Archie Concepcion, nanalo siya ng MVP award dito sa PBA Draft Combine. And he also played the MPBL with the Pampanga Giant Lantern. So kahit paano, may experience na siya beyond college level.
Yeah. Of course, when you get rookies, these players, you will expect na medyo may adjustment period pa yan with their new team. But for both coaches, sino sa tingin nyo, among your picks, will make an instant impact pagpasok pala ng PBA? Coach
Apart from Holt, siguro. Kasi si Holt ata yung madaling sagot doon eh.
ayun na nga, I wanted to mention Holt, di ba? Because of his experience. No? Ang tingin ko sa kanya, yung effect niya will be just like the effect of Mikey Williams, how he came into the league.
that's
So
what
parang ganun ang nakikita
instant
ko sa
impact
kanya.
agad.
Yes.
For Coach Mark.
I don't want to be biased, but I will be biased. I will go with Ken Tuffin.
Okay.
Because he's gonna be pretty much playing the same role that he was playing in FEU. In the PBA, he's a wing with size. Yun din ang gagawin niya. He will defend and shoot.
Yeah.
He reminds me of your boy, R.R. Pogoy's transition from UAAP to PBA. It helped that Nash was his coach, his first coach in the PBA. But it was a seamless transition because he's a 3-and-D guy who knows his role and who can shoot. And I think Kenneth Tuffin is the same.
And he has the experience also of playing overseas, playing in New Zealand for the Wellington Saints even for that.
So those are the players that will make an instant impact. Sino naman dito yung you're looking at the long-term potential, yung growth na, okay, medyo, we can say na
Project-based.
project, yeah, these players didn't have a lot of exposure in their college days, but come like maybe their 3rd, 4th, 5th year, nag-blossom na tong player na to. Unahin natin si Coach Mark this time.
Brandon Bates for sure.
Brandon
He didn't have enough years, I guess, playing in the UAP for LaSalle, but he showed a lot of improvement playing PBA 3x3, showing that he has the quickness and the athleticism to make an impact on the 5-on-5 game. So the numbers that he had in the UAP will lie, I think, because I think in a couple of years he's gonna be a force in the PBA.
Coach Nash, mga project mo?
I'd go for 2 guys, si Cade Flores and si Brian Santos. Well, Cade Flores, you know how he impacted the campaign of Arellano last season.
Yeah.
So in just 1 year, in 1 season. The same way with si Brian Santos. He just played a season for UST, pero grabe yung impact niya. So if he is given the minutes, I think in the PBA, he won't get that initially, but I think in time, he will be a major player.
Yeah, double-digit scorer sa Phil Oil tong si Brian Santos, and then in the PBA D-League, scored 9 points per game with almost 8 rebounds per game as a 6'5 stretch 4. Let's see whether or not magko-convert yun to the PBA, especially with 6'5 being a bit short for a 4 sa PBA. But Coach Mark, you take a look at all of the talents here, and I'm just looking at the players, apart from the ones who can make instant impact, who do you feel na is the most ready to contribute immediately in the PBA, in the sense that kahit anong team, you put him in even on the bigger teams like a TNT or Barangay Ginebra, and will be able to contribute even if they're not going to be in a starting role?
I think somebody like BJ Andrade, with all the championship experience and playing in a system, if he finds a team or a coach who's going to use him as a role player and playing in a similar system, I think he can be a factor because he improved a lot in his 4 or 5 years playing in the UAP. So you know that the work ethic is there.
So that's a better way to phrase that question. Coach Nash, sino yung best in role player mo dito sa grupo na to?
Paraiso.
Brent Paraiso.
Yeah, Brent Paraiso. Tough defender. No, I think he will understand his role once he comes in. So, yeah. He will be a welcome player in the PBA, I think.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that is our mock draft. Of course, these 24 names here. This probably won't be the order, but ito po yung big board natin. You can start off from the right side, the Coach Nash side is number 1, and snake it all the way down. I-screenshot yun na yan. And then let's see whether or not these gentlemen are prophets in terms of PBA futures. Coach Nash, Coach Mark, maraming salamat. Really appreciate the time that you spent here with us, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun watching the PBA draft together.
And find out how you can watch the PBA Season 48 draft after the break. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game.
Welcome back to the game. You've heard it here first, the top PBA draft picks of Coach Mark and Coach Nash. Now, I said bye-bye to them a while ago. Mali po ako. So, before we let you go, coaches, is there anything that you'd like to tell the PBA aspirants? Coach Nash, obviously, you've had your time with the PBA. You've helped create PBA stars. You've helped develop them in the college level. Ano mensahe mo for the PBA draft aspirants, especially knowing that napakahirap to actually hold on to a spot sa PBA?
Yan, napakasikip ng PBA, no? I think reality is teams will sign probably 1 or 2 players, no, that would come from this draft. So I'd say to the aspirants, just be patient, no? Sometimes, ma-invite ka lang to practice, no, to be a practice player. That's already a blessing. So dapat for them, just take advantage. That's your opportunity to show them what you've got.
Coach Mark?
You just be ready all the time because you never know when that opportunity will come. He's not here today, but I'm a big fan of Diego Dario and what he's doing right now because he was ready. He stayed ready when PBA on tour came. He got some minutes and Diego's playing well. I'm sure he's gonna be rewarded with the contract for this season.
You know, it's just so great na kahit wala dito si Diego, pinag-uusapan pa rin natin si Diego.
Talaga pag wala dito,
Kapag wala dito, oo. Pero we only say good things about Diego. Can we say bad things about Diego next time? Pero Coach Nash, again, for those who are drafted but not signed, just to echo yung message ni Coach Mark, what do you tell those types of players?
Keep on working. Diba? You'll get your opportunity. Diba? As long as you work hard. Diba? Sabi nga ni Coach Mark, trabahuhin mo and be ready.
Yeah.
You'll never know when it will come.
So let's see what will happen this PBA draft.
And hopefully the aspirants are watching right now. Nakita nila yung picks ng ating GMs. Thank you so much, Coach Nash, Racela, and Coach Mark Molina. And on that note, join us and embrace the thrill of the hardwood as the PBA Season 48 draft unfolds. Join us as we usher in a new era in Philippine basketball. Your favorite players and teams are set to make history this Sunday, September 17 at 4 p.m. at Market in Taguig. Now you can also watch the draft live on the Pilipinas Live app, One Sports, and PBA Rush. Don't miss your chance to witness the next generation of superstars emerge. Mark your calendars and be part of the action. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dip Dipianco.
Catch us weeknights here on One News and on the Pilipinas Live app, where you can watch us live and our past episodes on demand for just 99 pesos a month, available for download on Google Play or the App Store. Thank you to our live studio audience watching us here today, kahit dalawa lang kayo. I'm Paolo Del Rosario, and this has been The Game.